I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. This video is part of what I think is the most important series of videos we do here at the MeidasTouch Network. This is where we hear from you, where you share your stories about family members, friends, colleagues, neighbors, just people you know in general who used to be in the Republican Party or were independents who sometimes voted Republican, sometimes voted Democrat, or people who have that same issue who were not affiliated with any political parties, who simply can never ever vote for any Republican again because of the fact that the MAGA Republicans have taken over the Republican Party. The Republican Party has left them. We feature your stories here, and then we ask you to please share your own stories in the comments. If this is a story that happened to you or a family member, a coworker, colleague, neighbor, someone that you know, etc. So let's go and read some of these comments. This one is particularly provides me with a lot of hope, and I want to share this with you. All right. Mark Burkansky writes the following. I was an independent voter since January 6th. I am now registered Democrat and will not vote for any Republican come 2024 and beyond. Vote for blue wave, everyone. Look, no matter when you came to this realization, if it was finally January 6th, we welcome you to the pro-democracy coalition where truth and facts and objective evidence matters, where compassion, humanity, and truly supporting our Constitution matters. Next comment. This comes from Lewis McCoy. I left the GOP too. I am now a proud advocate of our President Biden and the Democratic Party. Jennifer Nelson writes, my husband and I were both Catholic and Republican. My child went to University of Illinois, is trans, and actually spoke in front of President Biden when he was vice president. Alex has traveled the United States teaching about sexual violence prevention to college students. Having Alex was the best thing to happen to our family. We are now recovering Catholics and Democrat. Jennifer, thank you for sharing. And look, at the end of the day, we got to be in a compassionate system. We got to be in a system where humanity matters, where truth matters, where facts matter, and where politicians are focused on delivering things for people and not trying to take away freedoms of people like the MAGA Republicans are doing each and every day. R. Barley writes, I was a Republican for 40 years. I even voted for Trump in 2016. In 2020, I switched to Democrat. Welcome to the pro-democracy coalition. Catmoro79 writes, I am an independent but have voted for both parties at various times. I was so disgusted when John McCain asked Sarah Palin to be his VP that I was truly soured on the Republican Party. The way they have pandered to the extremist side of their party is sickening. Today's GOP's promotion of anarchy and violence is totally unacceptable. I will never vote Republican again. Thanks for sharing. Lane Anon writes, my boyfriend at 68 years old never got involved in politics and never voted. Trump running in 2020 caused him to register and vote Joe Biden. So proud of him. And just like Lane Anon, if you have someone in your family, friends, coworkers, colleagues, share these videos, show them, talk to them about compassion, humanity, decency, intelligence, facts. Share with them the MeidasTouch Network and make sure they are registered to vote. Start now. That's my biggest message. Start now having these conversations. Thomas Maynard 7875 writes, I voted Republican from the time I joined the Marines in 1987. I'm now 54 and I'm now an independent. The Republican Party lost me forever when all of them voted against the Pact Act. I was at Camp Lejeune and now have Parkinson's and developed rectal cancer at the age of 48. The so-called Republicans used us for pawns in their game. Well, after losing my rectum, having to deal with a colostomy bag and all that comes with Parkinson's, it's no game to me. There's nothing they can do to regain my trust. I'm sure I'm not the only veteran that feels this way. My father's Republican Party is dead. First off, Thomas, thank you for sharing that with us. We stand behind you here at the MeidasTouch Network, not just with words, but through our actions to try to promote democracy and policies that benefit veterans each and every day. We've heard from so many veterans who share your story, and I think the media, large media networks, in trying to both sides the issues, pay an outsized attention to the smaller amount of veterans who engage in bad acts regarding our democracy and are supporters of Trump. But I think overwhelmingly, vets, people in the military realize that our freedoms, and the trust between our government and veterans is dependent on a functioning government that actually delivers for the military, that delivers for veterans. And MAGA Republicans, they steal the symbols, the flag, the Constitution. They take it and they say these things and they don't deliver, though. And it's about actually delivering for the people. You remember when the MAGA Republicans fist bumped each other and celebrated when they were blocking the Pact Act that President Biden and Democrats were pushing. That should be a bipartisan bill. Republicans laughing as they fist bump each other to deprive veterans of critical health care. They found that to be funny. And they did that because they were upset at the CHIPS Act passing, the fact that a $50 billion investment in the United States semiconductor industry passed. So they were going to take the fact that more jobs were coming to America and retaliate against Biden by blocking the Pact Act. To your point, they treat this like a game. This isn't a game. This is not a game, politics. It is delivering things for people. Next comment. This is from Poodles for You. I have a toy poodle as well. I was a lifelong Republican until Trump was elected. The GOP has gotten worse since Trump. I will never vote GOP again. Tom Fortson, 2684, writes, I was a Republican from my first opportunity to register in 1969 until the Tea Party showed me their true face. No longer were they riding white horses and wearing white hats. They had turned angry about everyone and everything. Now I am proud to be a Democrat supporting decency and compassion for all. And my wife and my mother were both Republicans. Both switched to Democrat. When I did, we all woke up. Exactly what you said there. It's decency, compassion, intelligence, a functioning government. Look, do I agree with everything the Democrats do or President Biden does? I don't. I disagree on a lot of things. However, delivering results for the people compassionately, with humanity, with dignity, and with intelligence, grappling with problems, trying to be problem solvers. Diane Eve writes, I was raised a Republican in Maricopa County. My parents told me that Nixon was a great president. I graduated from BJU, a very conservative, Republican religious university. I was living in Florida when Obama first ran for president. That was when I left the Republicans. I couldn't justify or excuse the rabid Tea Parties, but no, I just switched to independent. When Trump ran, I thought it was too ridiculous to be taken seriously. No thinking person would vote for him. I thought certainly no evangelical Christians. I voted for my sister's Rottweiler. I became a Democrat when Trump won. And while I am still a Christian, I no longer align myself with evangelicals. I think we have betrayed our charter to love our neighbors as ourselves, all our neighbors. I was a Democrat monitor for First Audit in Georgia. I will always be proud to be a part of that piece of history. Look, here at the MeidasTouch Network, whatever your religious beliefs are, we respect that. And whether your religious beliefs are that you don't believe in it, we respect that too. The whole idea of separation of church and state is that government should not be endorsing a specific religion. And what you do privately, where you pray, what your religion is, you should be able to do that privately. And in terms of what religions should stand for, it should be compassion and love and helping. And what the Republicans are doing goes against the values of like every single religion. And they co-opt it. They co-opt the imagery. And that's why, though, it's important we just have these conversations in very kind of sober, reasonable, rational ways together. These fireside chats, if you will, where we can just be like, look, we're better than that. We're better than that as a country than this MAGA Republican fascist idiocracy. Next comment, Nick 92065. Ben, my wife is a registered independent and I am a registered Democrat. She used to vote Republican or Democrat. Once Trump got onto the scene in 2015 and she saw what he was doing, she said she would never vote Republican again. She is now going to register as a Democrat. She has also said as a woman, she doesn't know how any woman could vote Republican. Thank you for sharing. Tammy Zeller 9162. I am fiscally conservative who supports freedom and human rights. While I am a registered Republican, I look at the candidate and hear their message to make my choice. I am often voting the lesser of two evils, but it is an important vote. Sad fact is that either a Democrat or a Republican will be selected. Most voters are programmed that way. If you do not vote, write in vote outside these two parties at this point. I believe it is a wasted vote. This may deliver dire results for our country. I voted for Trump the first time and never again. I voted Biden and was so impressed by what he and the Democratic House and Senate were able to accomplish against all odds in 2 years. I will vote Democrat down the line to continue to experience that goodness. There is no other Republican candidate that is in tune with that. I want to thank you for sharing that message. And yeah, I mean, to me, it's about results. Look what's happened in the past 2 years under Biden, not what the propaganda, is, just what were the results. Okay. Infrastructure, CHIPS Act, Pact Act, Inflation Reduction Act, lowering prescription drug prices. The United States is the fastest growing GDP of all G7 nations. In terms of inflation, has the least inflation of any G7 nation, despite the Republicans trying to pull our economy into a recession. The tactical moves that President Biden made avoided that. To me, it's about results. And it's about not even just the results, but attempting to deliver things. And that's what I appreciate about Democrats. Mona Bear 7287 writes, I met my now very close friend just after the 2020 election. I was rather dismayed when he admitted he had voted for Trump twice. Since this was inconsistent with what I knew of my friend, I asked questions and learned he was incredibly politically uninformed. I educated him. He's horrified that he ever voted Republican, but really, don't vote without doing at least the minimum to inform yourself. I hear the story all the time. It's never too late to have these conversations with people in your lives who are politically uninformed. Have the conversations. We make these videos so you can share these videos with people. Just tell them, watch a few of them. You can disagree, but just they're facts, they're evidence. When MeidasTouch makes a video, it is focused on here is what someone's saying, here's what the court document shows, and you can make your own decision, but let's evaluate what the objective facts are. Grace Munoz 2766 writes, my older sister was a staunch Republican all her adult life, while I was always blue. I loved debating policies with her, and neither of us got offended or angry. We accepted the differences. When Trump was nominated, she sadly left her party because she didn't like or trust that idiot. I didn't have to say a thing. She hasn't changed her mind. Thanks for sharing. KD6782, I'm a middle-class man who was a staunch conservative and Republican my entire life. I'm 68 years old now. As of 2016, I can no longer support the Republican Party because of Donald Trump. I will never vote for another Republican in my life. Catherine Gearhart writes, my 82-year-old mother, a lifelong Rockefeller Republican, is now solid blue. Way to go, Mom. Amelia V6771 writes, my wealthy parents and all their wealthy friends voted for Trump the first time expecting sanity, quickly realized the lunacy, did not vote for him the second time. That's what's so evident. It's the lunacy. It's the barrage of lies. It's the chaos. It's the fact that everything this individual Trump's touched in his life has gone bankrupt before he was in office. Bankrupt company, bankrupt company, bankrupt company, bankrupt company. If he's such a good businessman, why is everything going bankrupt, 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 bankrupt? hundreds of lawsuits before he ever took office against him for not paying people who are owed money. That makes him smart? No, he's someone who has avoided paying taxes that he should be paying, pays more money in taxes to China than he paid here in the United States, and is just an utter disaster and a chaos agent. I can go on, but you get it. Next comment. I'm a veteran. This is from Microbeta. I'm a veteran and was a Republican for over 35 years. My wife and I gave up our seats on our local Republican town committee and left the Republican Party, and here is why. I served on my local Republican town committee. I ran for local office as a Republican. I've manned phone banks to get out our local Republicans out to vote. I've served on municipal committees and commissions as a Republican. I've worked on many Republican campaigns, from local town council to state and federal representatives. After all that, I'm called a rhino simply because I refuse to be a MAGA QAnon Republican. I'm called a rhino by keyboard warriors who blindly believe only their echo chambers tell them to believe. I no longer recognize the party I believed in all of those years. Thank you for sharing that. And that's one of the things that we talk about here. Yes, I am aligned with the Democratic Party right now. But if the Democratic Party started posting QAnon memes and conspiracies about satellite dishes, mentally controlling things and wacko crap, I'm not going to support him anymore. Like, it's that simple. I would say this. If President Biden sent out one QAnon meme, just one, for all of the stuff that I think he did great, he'd lose my support because we have to have standards. You can't be posting death cult memes and Donald Trump has posted, I think, more than 525 of those since he created the social media platform Truth Social. By the way, Truth Social, Pravda, the same thing what the Soviet Union called their newspaper, but that's an aside. And so to me, this Democratic Party is a pro-democracy coalition. Now, you have a pro-democracy coalition Democrat, and you have this MAGA Republican, Trump, whatever the hell it is, fascist idiocracy. That's on the other side. Those are the choices now. And as President Biden said, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And that's what I do. I look at the alternative and I go, that is radical, dangerous, anti-American, and horrifically dangerous to this country. And I look at President Biden, I look at the Democrats, I look at this pro-democracy coalition of Democrats, conservatives, liberals, progressives, people not affiliated with political party. I look at this coalition of decency, of humanity, of intelligence, and I say, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to focus on. I want results. I want to do things for the country. I want to deliver benefits. The MAGA Republicans just talk about hate every single day. Anyway, thank you for sharing your stories. Share your story on the comments below right now. I'll read them on another video that we'll do in a week or two. So share your comments, share your stories, and look, make sure right now is the time to speak to people, to get out the message. You think about it, how many people watch these videos? If all of you just helped register voters and just did a small piece in the 2024 election for the generals starting now, it's a game changer. It's a freaking game changer. Just start with one person. If you do more than that, home run. But just start with one. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers. And check out the audio podcast, the MeidasTouch podcast. Hit subscribe on YouTube. It is free. Have an amazing day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.